Atiku Abubakar and his supporters has applauded the capacity governor of Rivers State.
All right, let's take this reaction from former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, who over the weekend said that the outcome of the elections amounted to a rejection of political oppression and godfatherism in the state. Well, Atiku wrote, in part, with the conclusion of the local government election in Rivers State, the shadows of political intimidation and judicial chicanery have dissipated, paving the way for the noble pursuit of governance to commence in the state. As prophesied, it has now been revealed that the citizens of Rivers are astute and resolute, unwavering in their rejection of any form of political oppression, harassment, or machinations of self-serving godfathers. I must applaud Governor Fubara for his unwavering commitment to the people's interests, safeguarding the sanctity of the local government elections, even amidst provocative challenges. I mean, you guys have discussed this, but this particular tweet by Atiku Abubakar, users on social media have said, I mean, he's come out to gloat, basically, because, you know, he's gloating against Wike, despite the fact that his party claimed they did not participate in the election. His party did not win, but, you know, what do we say? As always, politics and politicians. Interesting times. But on Saturday, supporters of the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, staged a protest against the elections. Some were heard chanting, "Take your sin and give me Wike." Let's take a look. There's always a new song from Rivers State referring as somebody's father. Ayo, Fubara is their governor.
He's their governor.
Right? But let me take this reaction to that song. Jay wrote, Rufai. A few days ago, we were hearing some funny songs from the supporters of the FCT minister, like, you want to do election, you no tell Wike. You want to do election, Sim, now wow. But today, the narrative has changed. Now it's Rivers people singing for them. We don't do election, we no tell Wike, we don't do election. Sin, now mano, to God be the glory. I mean, you can hear the excitement from some people absolutely in Rivers State. But you know, there was just congratulations, the MEC.
Part of the incidence of valid election is not police participation. By the way, in the federal election, INEC, is the INEC that determines the role the police will play. Police has no role in election. It's the role that INEC assigns to them, which is to support INEC. So police has no independent role to play. And so police not participating in the election does not in any way impeach its credibility. In fact, some may argue contrary that maybe police not participating helps the peacefulness. Some argue that, you know, because sometimes police is, most times parties are not only for ruling party, but for some people. So first, it's very clear whether police is good or not. There's no requirement that police must participate to make election valid.
Yes, but in the manner in which he conducted a similar government election in Rivers State, despite the attempts by the Inspector General of Police in collaboration with Wike to sabotage the conduct of that election. They has, however, called on Wike to shed his sword and throw his support behind the governor.
There seems to be a bit of confusion over which law governs local government elections. Now, the local government elections, are they governed by the Electoral Act, or are states empowered to enact laws with which to conduct local council elections?
I think that's the right place to start. And clearly, sections 8, 7, and 8 gives the power to regulate local governments to state assemblies. So the local governments are constitutionally created, meaning you can't alter the local government creation. It can't, you know, kind of deface and say no more local government in my state. We saw what happened when President Tinubu was governor, and the case went to Supreme Court. Supreme Court says, look, you can create, even if you create local government, it has to be confirmed by the National Assembly. So the creation of is a federal issue, and this is the Constitution. But the Constitution says that the management structure and governance of local government is subject to state laws. Section 8 talks about state assembly that provide, in fact, who can vote. It says anybody who can vote for the House of Assembly of a state can vote for local government elections. So each of the states, pursuant to the constitutional provision, have set up their state election commission. The Constitution also excludes INEC from conducting state local government elections except for FCT, which is a federal territory. So apart from FCT, there's no other place in the country where INEC has a jurisdiction to conduct local elections. And therefore, and also there's no other election in Nigeria apart from national House of Assembly, state governors election, House of Assembly election.
Why this exception for the Federal Capital Territory?
Because the Federal Capital Territory is legislated by the National Assembly. The legislative chamber that creates law for FCT is the National Assembly. So therefore, it's a federal territory. The president is actually the chief executive of the FCT, and his delegate, which is the FCT minister, manages. That's why he appoints him as a minister. He's not elected, so it's a territory, just like Washington. Okay. Now, the key point here is the election in local government area is controlled by SEC, and INEC has no jurisdiction whatsoever. Now, the requirement for INEC to give voters register is that INEC has constitutional responsibility to keep Nigerian voter roll.
Register, yes.
So, I think the court case, what the court suggests to say INEC should not give the
voter register to the
because ostensibly you need to be updated is good practice, but that's not law. Whether the election is legal or not has to be within the SEC law of the state that's stipulated, because there's no requirement that says before you conduct a valid election in states.
Whether the election is legal or not.
Is to be sourced by the provisions of the state law. Meaning, if the states define how the election will hold, time, days, and you go against those laws of the state, then it can be a basis for declaring it as irregular or illegal. If the election of local government complies with the state electoral law, it's valid. You can't impeach it on the basis of what INEC did or didn't do, except their law requires them to have INEC take some action. So this election will be judged by its compliance, conformance to the provisions of the state electoral, and that's the basis of federalism. So the federal power derives from the legislative power of the state, of the federal government, and state powers derive from the legislative competence of the states by the constitutional division of separation of power.
Now, which brings us to this point. Some of the parties that boycotted the Rivers State local government elections did cite a ruling by the Federal High Court regarding the conduct of the elections, and that's exactly what we need clarification about.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's take it this way. If a court makes an order, that order ought to be obeyed. That's prima.
Yes.
It's a law school 101. But,
yes.
But what that means is more complex. So, for example, if a federal court makes a law, what is binding is what it orders. So, for example, what the guy was saying, if ordered INEC not to release voters' register and ordered police not to participate, that order is expressly to say, don't give them, don't participate. If they go ahead and conduct their election without breaching the law, set them up, they have not contravened that law. So, in a sense, River State Electoral Commission has not necessarily contravened the order of the Federal High Court if the order did not stop it from conducting the election.
What about what if it did by implication? Now, the issue of the voters register and then ordering the police not to provide us security.
A good point. There is no requirement for police. Part of the incidence of valid election is not police participation. By the way, in the federal election, INEC, is the INEC that determines the role the police will play. Police has no role in election. It's the role that INEC assigns to them, which is to support INEC. So police has no independent role to play. And so police not participating in the election does not in any way impeach its credibility. In fact, some may argue contrary that maybe police not participating helps the peacefulness. Some
yes.
argue that, because sometimes police is, most times parties are not only for ruling party, but for some people. So first, it's very clear whether police is good or not. There's no requirement that police must participate to make election valid.
Yes, but what about the provisions of the Police Act, prevention and detection of crime, maintaining public safety and law and order? And we all know that elections usually
could
always, most of the time, degenerate into breach of a security. So ordering the police not to provide, not to participate. Now, it's a dangerous thing, isn't it, coming from a judge?
Exactly. I would even condemn the judge for doing that. I think it's actually arguably ridiculous and perverse. But let's even get there. Let's assume it is the right order to make. The police participation in election is not, police has no statutory duty to participate. Police participate at the instance of the electoral body. But police has a general power for law and order. So, for example, if police went to that venue and want to participate or want to control violence,
the police participation is providing security.
That's what the Constitution allows them. There's no constitutional or legal requirement that police must participate in an election. For example, elections are supposed to be civil and civic. In fact, even because of our own tragedy of violence, elections has no business with police. Police will just be around normal policing work, people walking and vote. So the fact that the police was stopped is first ridiculous and perverse. But at the same time, it does not impeach. The police saying we're not going to participate is actually surprising. Because police participation, and police says we're going to be on watch out for law and order, which is their job. So first is that election didn't require police participation to be valid, number one. So in law, validity and prudence is two different things. Validity means what makes this election valid. It seems that this election in Rivers State cross-checked every of those validity
Let's not
tests.
forget that without the people, there would be no elections. You can't have elections without human participation.
Do people require... Okay, look at the election result we saw and the outcome. We don't know whether it's violence, but people came out. See the point I'm making. If police is there to create an environment for people to come out. That's the point I'm making.
Yes.
But if the police says we're not going to come out, this is self-voluntary opting out by the Nigerian police. The state government and the SEC didn't say, don't come. Police said, we want to go participate. And the people came out peacefully. Should we now punish the people for police not doing their work and people conduct themselves civilly without creating instance? So this is actually to say, police probably might be superfluous in election. If they didn't come, and elections went ahead. So far, I've not seen fatality report. I don't know. But the point is this, that police has responsibility to protect land order.
Absolutely.
But police voluntarily says, we will protect law, but will not participate. That does not in any way impeach that election. In fact, if everybody could conduct themselves civilly, and police simply man the post and patrol like all over the world, then that's actually more democratic. So I hope that we can move from that point.
So the police obeying the court order did not go against the grain of what the law actually stipulates that they should do.
Police obey the law of the courts. Federal police, federal court. They did the right thing.
And didn't it go against the grain of what they were set up to do?
No, well, from a professional point of view, I think it's wrong to ask police not to participate. But since they ordered them and they didn't participate, I'm saying that neither police nor SEC has any illegality. SEC did the election. We're going to assess SEC on whether they comply with their law. And if, again, they are claiming that High Court of Rivers State authorized the election for 5th of October. Yeah. The federal government, the federal court says police don't give INEC tactically to frustrate that election. Whether rightly or wrong, that's a different point. But so the SEC can say, we have this authority by the State High Court that has real original jurisdiction over the matter. And what the Supreme Court. So it seems to me that this election actually passes on the face of it, the legal criteria for validity. Now, the question will sit back and say, why did the court get themselves entangled? First, a federal high court doesn't have, on the face of it, jurisdiction over local elections. Secondly, a federal high court judge should be reluctant to grant those kind of injunctive orders as parte. But nevertheless, however, the court will determine. But so far, as a legal scholar, I can tell you that you don't need the police, nor do you need the INEC to give you those lists to make the election valid. If they use 2023 election, which other states are using, it depends on what the state law requires.
All right. I think that will be a great place to land this discussion. Thank you very much, Dr. Sam Amadi, for
They have also noted that Wike's wings has begun to take a shape of a rain-beaten fowl. This is coming after Fubara resisted all effort by him in collaboration with the police force and conducted a local government election that has been adjudged to be the freest, impartial, and the most credible election in the history of Nigeria in recent times. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share so that subsequently when I drop this kind of update, you will be getting notification.